Brandon, how many times have you been called a pretty woman?
Too many times to count.
That's right.
And you know what? I've never been called handsome. And that's the way I like it.
Next step is to be called a woman of the streets.
Yes. Can't wait.
A lady of the street.
Lady of the
Can't
street,
wait.
lady of the night. Either way. And I wanted to let you know, in case I forget to tell you, I had a great time this episode. Hello and welcome back to the Uncultured Pop Culture Podcast. I'm your co-host, Brandon, and with me, as always, is your other co-host,
The Coco host. This is David.
Yes, we are back with another great episode. And I got to tell you, not only are we talking about a fun movie this week, we're also talking about the queen of pop herself,
That's right.
Madonna. So we have a lot to cover, as always. But before we get to that, I got to ask David, what is the movie that you watched in this past week? Because I know you've seen at least one.
I'm going to talk about a movie that I saw. It was a while ago, let's just say. I saw Train Dreams, which is considered by many to be one of the best movies of the year. I couldn't watch it before I did because it was only on Netflix, which I don't have. I tried to see it in theaters, but I went to Dallas for a week and a half, so I wasn't able to catch it. But luckily, while in Dallas, I did have access to Netflix, so I watched it. The thing is, you got to understand the environment I was watching it in. I was in an environment where people were always coming and going, where there were 7 dogs running around and fighting and stuff like that. So it was a little bit hard to focus. But even though it was kind of hard to focus and I couldn't fully get into the film, it's still a 4.5 and still my favorite film of last year. Which makes me think that if I rewatched it and fully got into it, it would be a 5 out of 5. So I'm not going to fully be I'm not going to fully form a verdict until I rewatch it, but it already is my favorite film of last year. And that's saying something.
Damn, Rian Johnson, watch out.
Yeah, sorry, Ryan Johnson and Daniel Craig. But there's a new sheriff in town, and his name is Joel Edgerton.
We need to get you Netflix all the time because we can't have you missing these great movies. 4.5 stars. Yeah. I mean, oh my God.
It would be ironic though if those are the only 2 movies that are 4.5 and everything is schlock.
Everything else on Netflix is bad, which, maybe. Who knows? Hey,
based off what I've been hearing about the last season of Stranger Things, it kind of tracks.
Well, you kind of spoiled it because I was going to talk about that when you asked me what I listened to this past week.
Well, let me ask now, what have you been listening to this past week?
Well, it turns out I haven't been listening to that much this past week, and I actually watched the final season of Stranger Things. And let me tell you,
That's what I thought.
The finale was good. I'll give them that. It was a good end to everything that they had set up. Do I wish season 5 was different? Of course, because I feel like it was kind of lazy writing. And, we're recording this a lot later than we were supposed to. And since then, there has been a documentary about the making of the 5th season of Stranger Things that has come out. And there's one shot that's making the rounds of the Duffer Brothers open laptop with 3 tabs of ChatGPT open.
That's what I saw that.
I don't know. I don't want to say it was written with the assistance of AI, but there are certain times where it feels like, maybe this wasn't fully a person writing it. I don't know. But, I'm not going to levy any accusations against them. I do think that the show ended on a good note and they didn't screw it up. That's always the hard thing is they screwed up the 7 episodes of season 5 that came before it, but they stuck the landing as far as I'm concerned. So,
well, now I want to know what your ranking of all the seasons are now that you've seen all of them.
Genuinely, it might just be in order. It might get worse every season, and it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Crazy.
Season 1 is incredible and is probably one of the greatest seasons of a TV show ever.
Right. That's what I've heard.
Yeah, it's up there. So I think you should definitely watch it because it's great.
And for all of you people that haven't seen Stranger Things, I think you guys should get Netflix, get on there,
And watch Dark.
And watch Dark.
Yep.
Enjoy
I knew it.
My Club. Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, I don't hate Stranger Things. I will watch the first season at some point.
You absolutely should, because I think
yes,
it will inspire you.
I've seen the first few episodes, and it was really
and you'll
good.
say, wow, I wish I could do this.
Girl, I already think that. I don't need more stuff to make me think that.
That's true.
I think that on a daily basis. I started watching Severance recently, and that started me going again.
Oh, God, yeah. Talk about a great show.
And I'm still thinking about Andor, so I don't need more reasons.
I also have a song to talk about.
Oh, yeah, I'm excited.
And the song this week, first one of the year, is Sailboat by Cavetown and Chloe Moriando.
Oh, it's been a while since I've heard Cavetown mentioned.
I did not know you knew who that was.
I know a few of their songs.
It's a very
but only a few.
High school era artist to talk about.
Yeah.
But anyway, this is a song that is kind of like a pop punk-ish kind of song about giving your lover a tattoo. And maybe it's not even your lover, and maybe it's just somebody you have a crush on. But it's very fun, and I was not expecting to like it this much. Big shout out to the two of them, because they both did a very good job on this song, and it's produced by Underscores, who's one of my favorite hyperpop producers. She only released 2 songs last year, and I think she's gearing up to release an album, but they were like 6 months apart. So I'm going to need a little bit more than that, because they've both been incredible, and I just need more music, unfortunately, because I am always greedy for more. That's my mantra.
You greedy bitch.
Thank you. I take pride in that. Well, one thing I'm not materialistic.
That's true.
But we do have to talk about the material girl herself, Madonna, and our album, Like a Virgin. This album was released November 12th, 1984 by Sire Records and Warner Brothers Records. And this is only her second album. Can you believe it?
That's crazy, especially considering how big this album was and is.
Yeah, it has some of her signature hits on here. Just kind of crazy to think about. I didn't look up her age at the time, but I assume it's something disrespectful, like younger than us. So,
Yeah. No, yeah.
So this album was supported by 4 singles, all 4 of which broke the top 5 on the Hot 100.
That's crazy.
It was not only a success in the time, it is also one of the best-selling albums of all time, despite having just a mixed critical reception. However, over time, it has been reevaluated, and it's been given the respect that it deserves from critics. And if you haven't figured out yet, this is a common theme amongst albums made by women and music from the genre pop in general.
Right.
Because it was, and in many cases still is, considered lowbrow and music for women. I don't know who had that quote, but it was some record executive from like the 70s or 80s that was like, pop music is music for women. And that's always stuck with me. I thought it was very interesting because it was said with so much malice. We're talking about a huge success here, though, because this album peaked at number 1 in the US and within the top 10 of every other country that is tracked.
That is genuinely crazy.
Yeah. I'm going to give you a little bit of a brief background on Madonna. That's her real name, Madonna Ciccone. She is the best-selling female artist in the history of the world and was the first artist to make $1 billion from her concert tours. She was born in Bay City and raised in the suburbs of Detroit, Michigan. So she is a Midwesterner.
Hell yeah.
Shout out. She's also known as the Queen of Pop, like I said. So I would say that is pretty cool to become royalty. If you want to learn more about her, there are many more resources, and there's more written about her than I can say here. And I assume that we will be doing her music again at some point on the podcast. So I don't want to tell you every single thing about her. Not that I will later, because she's like, you can find resources about her, I promise.
Yeah. Plus, I imagine that most people know at least something about her.
Did you know she's from Michigan?
I did not know that. I obviously know a lot of her like big songs. I've even seen her in movies, but I did not know she was from Michigan.
Yeah, that's kind of a fun fact because, that could be me someday. I could be the queen of pop.
Yeah.
The princess of pop. The pretty woman of pop. Ooh. I'm liking this.
I like that. I support that.
Madonna wanted to be the producer of this album, but Sire Records wouldn't let her. So she brought in Nile Rodgers because of his work on David Bowie's album Let's Dance.
That's crazy, but I'm not surprised that they would not let her.
Nile Rodgers is also from the band Chic and is actually still making music today, if you can believe it. He's old. So shout out to him. He's popped up every now and then. He made a song with Daft Punk too. You may have heard of it. It's called Get Lucky.
Oh, of course. That's crazy. I had no idea.
That's Nile Rodgers. 2013 that was from.
Damn.
So she chose all of the songs to be on this album, which is crazy because in this era, pop stars were not allowed much, if any, creative control over their careers, especially if they were women. And a common theme throughout the process of making this album is how much Madonna was around in the studio for every stage of the music making process. She was not required to be there for more than just her vocals, but she always was. And she was like around in mixing and mastering and stuff like that too. So like everything. She wanted to learn essentially how to make music from start to finish. The keyboards and synthesizers on this album are by Nile Rodgers, Nathaniel S. Hardy Jr., and Robert Sabino. The bass is by Bernard Edwards. The real drums are by Tony Thompson, and the drum machines are by Jimmy Brelower. Don't know if that's how you say it, but shout out. Background vocals are by Curtis and Brenda King, Frank and George Sims, and Madonna. All songs on the album were produced by Nile Rodgers, who also performed every other instrument that I didn't mention. It was mixed by Jason Corsaro and mastered by Bob Ludwig, who also is a connection this week, and he mastered Born in the USA by Bruce Springsteen.
Hell yeah. That's fun.
I have to tell you what your favorite song is going to be. Love Don't Live Here Anymore.
We'll see.
So let's get into it. Track number 1, Material Girl. Written by Peter Brown and Robert Rands. This is the second single from the album, released January 23rd, 1985. This song, along with Like a Virgin, the song, cemented Madonna's status as a superstar. She has said that this song is meant to be somewhat ironic because she never viewed herself as materialistic, although the nickname Material Girl has been applied to her since then, as I did before. My apologies, Madonna.
Don't sue us.
This song reached number 2 on the Hot 100, but it did reach number 1 on the Cashbox chart and in the country of Cuba, in case you were wondering.
They were like, we want some materials, please, so we'll listen to the song.
Yeah, exactly. Please, America.
Please.
Lift the trade embargoes. So I only wrote a few things about this song. I think that this song is a top 5 connection between a song and a movie that we've done. Just specifically this song.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking specifically of the part where she's buying all the stuff, the montage. And I also don't really know what else to say about this song. I think it's a solid pop song. There's nothing wrong with it. And you know what? This is actually my favorite song on here. This is a 2.5.
Whoa.
So that's going to tell you kind of where we're starting from, where we may be going. I don't hate this song. I think it's fine. But, you know, I have a general problem, I guess, with 80s pop music. It's fine. It's just
it only
not
gets
really
worse from
super
here.
Interesting. And yes, you are correct.
I did want to ask, do you have a guess at what my least favorite song is going to be?
I did not write one down.
Okay.
Do you have a guess at what my least favorite song is going to be?
I have no idea. You know what? I'm going to say Shooby-Doo. I think that might be.
Interesting.
This song is obviously a classic. I feel like everyone who has heard at least some music has heard of this song. And I think it's just a very fun dance song. You know, it gets you going. While I was listening to this, I was thinking about how crazy it is how long Madonna has been releasing music. It's like, what, like 40 years? Something like that, right? Over that?
Yeah, 80s to present. She's releasing an album this year, too.
I know, it's crazy. But yeah, I think this song, it's obviously a classic. I think it's a classic for a reason. I'm not a big like Madonna head. There's one song of hers that was from a later album that I really love. But the score for this song, I feel like, is generally how high I go with her music. It's a 4. You know, still a very good score. But it's ultimately not my favorite style of pop. So that's kind of the highest I tend to go with her, with like 1 or 2 exceptions maybe. Which kind of tells you how high I go with this album in terms of individual songs.
That is kind of the nice part of starting it off with like a huge single. Like it just opens up the album and it's like it sets the tone for it.
Exactly. I will say this album is, not to spoil things, but it is very front loaded.
I agree.
At least in my opinion. Yeah.
That's the Maroon 5 effect right there.
Yep, literally.
I did want to ask you, is your favorite song on here a 4? Is this your favorite as well? I should probably ask.
So honestly, did I pick a favorite? I don't think I picked a favorite. There were a couple of songs that got a 4. But honestly, I didn't consider what was my favorite or least favorite when I was listening to this. So I couldn't really say.
So as long as Love Don't Live Here Anymore is a 4, then I'm considering that a win in my book.
Then you're fine.
Cool.
Yeah, that counts in my book.
Sick.
Yeah. And as long as Shooby Doo is like, or I guess it doesn't matter. It can be your lowest rated song. I take it back. Scratch that.
I mean, if you want to give it a number of what do you think it's going to be?
You're going to give it a 1.
Ooh, okay, cool. Track number 2, Angel, written by Madonna and Stephen Bray. This was the third single. It was released with the B-side Into the Groove, which does not appear on the album. We're back to that. It's the 80s, you know?
I hate that, not going to lie.
I will still say that I kind of like it, but I don't know that I could bring myself to do it when releasing my own music.
It just doesn't make any sense to me. I mean,
it's just an extra, it's a bonus song. It's like, here you go, fans. I love you. Buy my song.
Why not just put it in the album, though? Okay, whatever.
Because the album's long enough as is. I don't know. Anyway, this song did not get a good critical reception, and the other singles from the album were doing well, so Warner Brothers decided not to make a music video for it, but it still reached number 5 on the Hot 100. They're like, we don't need to push this as a single, and it was still a huge success.
That's crazy.
And this song is about a girl who is saved by an angel and falls in love with him. I wrote down, I'm keeping this one at a 2.5 for now, but I feel like this could easily be used to torture someone on an endless loop. However, I enjoy the chorus as of now. We do have a little bit of a connection to Prince in that a lot of these songs do not need to be this long. So that is a common theme on the album.
I 100% agree.
So this one's a 2.5, you know, that's all right. I think this is the last 2.5. Oh wait, no, there is one more that comes up later.
I agree with the length. And I also feel like with a lot of these songs, the choruses and I guess the song in general just get repetitive because they're so long.
For sure.
And that definitely happens here. I think the song itself is still enjoyable, so it's a 3.5. I don't hate it. I think it's, you know, another fun song. Maybe a little funkier than the last one, maybe a little sexier than the last one.
True.
But yeah, it just feels too long and repetitive to be a 4, even though I don't hate it.
That's fair. I respect that.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I was too. I didn't know if I should move it down from a 2.5 or not, but I kept it there for now.
I feel like that fits, but I could also see it being a 2, either or.
It's title track time. Track number 3, Like a Virgin, written by Billy Steinberg and Tom Kelly. This was the lead single, released on Halloween 1984, about 2 weeks before the album. It is considered one of her best songs, and actually received a few good critical reviews when it came out. And it peaked at number 1 in the US, Canada, and Australia, and was the number 2 song of 1985. So shout out to that. It's the second most successful song of the next year after the album came out. I find that to be insane. Anyway, Nile Rodgers did not like this song, and he said, Like a Virgin wasn't a, quote, terrific hook or an all-time catchphrase. And I wanted to say this note specifically because some of the best producers have no idea what they're talking about. Now, do I like this song? No, not really. I've always preferred Material Girl because this song just feels more unchanging than Material Girl. Like, I feel like Material Girl just has a little bit more oomph to it. And this song just doesn't. It's one note the entire time. And it's fine, but I don't want to listen to it. It's a 2.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, you hear this song everywhere. I feel like you hear this more than Material Girl.
I agree.
Yeah, you hear this all over the place. And I think it is a classic for a reason. Like, it's very catchy. I will say, I think Weird Al's Like a Surgeon is a better version of this song.
You would say that?
In all honesty, I would say that. But I do agree it's more repetitive than Material Girl. But it's weird. It's like it's more repetitive, but it still works. I was stuck between a 3.5 and a 4. I'm still kind of stuck.
3.5.
I kind of feel, I kind of feel like it should be a 3.5.
To me, it's just not as memorable. It weirdly, even though it's the title track, and like, I don't know, I have it in my head right now. I can hum it. But I just feel like Material Girl is just that step above.
It stays in your head, but it kind of stays in your head because it's so repetitive.
True. Yeah, you're going to hear the chorus like 6 times.
So yeah, I think honestly, 3.5 befits for me. I don't hate it, but it could be better.
Track number 4, Over and Over, written by Madonna and Stephen Bray. I read a few things for this one. Specifically, this song is too happy sounding for me. And dare I say...
You would say that.
Exactly. I definitely would say that. Do you feel a little ABBA influence here? Because I do.
I could see that.
Just a slight bit.
I referenced that by writing a note that said it feels very 80s to me. So that's probably where that came through. Because I didn't like put it together in my mind as, oh, ABBA. I put it more as like, oh, 80s sound.
Yeah, it's got a little like disco, dance pop, Euro pop in it.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing, to be honest.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I also said that the Kesha effect has set in for this album, and I don't think it goes away now, if I remember correctly.
It was here, yeah.
I rated this song a 2.
Again, I don't hate this, but it's definitely not at the same level as any of the previous songs we were slipping. It does feel very 80s, but it is kind of just like, whatever. It's just kind of forgettable, ultimately. This is a 3. Again, I don't hate this, but I also am just not interested in it, really. I feel like the title fits the song, though, over and over.
True.
Yeah.
Track number 5, potentially your favorite, Love Don't Live Here Anymore, written by Miles Gregory. The strings on this song are by Karen Milne and Kermit Moore. Kermit is his name. I wanted to tell you that because I thought you'd like that.
We got to watch a Muppet movie soon, because
that's true.
I love
actually.
Muppets. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen a Muppet movie, and I gotta say I don't really get the hype as of now. But
they might not be for you, honestly. Like, I could see you not really, like, I could see it not really working for you. I was gonna say that, but I could see it not working. Hey, let me hide behind my new way of saying that. I could see it not working for you, but I could also see it working for you. I honestly don't know. I think it also depends on which one we watch. We'll see.
This song is actually a cover of a song of the same name by Rose Royce from 1978. And speaking of things not working for me, I think this is going to work for you, because I said, oh, look, a ballad that I don't like. What a surprise. I don't feel anything here. And it is another unchanging, nearly 5-minute long song. I rated this one a 1.5. This is actually my least favorite.
Ooh,
although I will say the score 1.5 does come back multiple other times. So
I was off with my score, but I could still be right about it being one of your least favorites. Should be doing.
Yes, but I went back to my old method of picking my least favorite song and saying that would be your favorite, and it just so happened that it was a ballad.
Yeah.
So
tracks.
Lay it on me. Is this a 4?
So, as a ballad fan, I want to say that this song is dull as hell.
Whoa.
This is one of my 2 least favorite songs on this album. It just does not work for me. It's just like too long and too boring. It's a 2.5. I've heard much worse songs, but I do not like this.
This is crazy. So, yeah. Wow.
We're in agreement.
We actually are.
This is one of my 2 like songs that I dislike in this album.
Very interesting. I'm surprised.
Yeah.
As you can probably tell.
I know, I was surprised too. I gotta say though, it's kind of what we talked about, where a lot of times pop ballads don't work as well for me as like ballads in other genres. So I think it might have possibly been that too.
That's true. I feel like there's different types of pop ballads, and this is the one that doesn't work though. It's like showy and like over the top kind of.
It doesn't feel sincere.
Right, exactly. At the same time, I would argue that some of the ABBA ballads feel that same way to me. But you did like those more. So
I take that back.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say that some of the ABBA ballads work for me, which I do agree with.
Yes, they do work for you. They don't work for me as well, though.
Yeah.
I feel like in general, I mean, we know this, ballads generally don't work for me. But I do feel like I tend to like ballads a little bit more in rock music, weirdly.
Well, I feel like they fit more, because I also do prefer them in rock. I feel like they just fit more with the style of music and the instruments that are typically used.
And I guess it also kind of depends on what we define as a ballad too, because like this is a ballad. I like slower tempo songs, like modern pop songs, but they don't necessarily feel like ballads because they're still like fully like produced out like a regular pop song. When I think of a ballad now, I think of like someone sitting at a piano and playing that and then just singing over it. And usually that's like not great for me.
I agree. I feel like that's
same with
the general
guitar.
Impression I get from ballads now, which, you know, there are some that don't do that, I feel like, but most of them do. And a lot of times it works.
It's hard to kind of find the line between like a ballad that works and doesn't work, because like when I think of modern ballad, I think of Driver's License by Olivia Rodrigo. I don't like that song, but I can recognize the merit in it. Other ballads I think of are like Hello by Adele, kind of any of Adele's music. That, I don't know if it works super well for me, but she's great. Same thing with Olivia Rodrigo. Like, they're super talented.
No, I agree. I think they do tend to work for me pretty well, but they're not like my favorites. Unlike, a lot of times when in a rock album, a ballad will be my favorite or something like that. The one that I always think of, which I am intrigued to hear if you consider this to be a ballad, but I think one of the best ballads released recently is Pink Pony Club.
That is kind of a ballad. Yeah.
That's what the impression I get.
Yeah. It's very theatrical.
But it's kind of a mix.
Yeah. It's almost in this genre that I kind of want to coin as like American Idol audition songs, where they're vocally impressive songs that are like kind of ballad adjacent. To me, that fits in with Beautiful Things by Benson Boone, kind of Teddy Swims' whole catalog.
Don't put those two songs together.
I mean, I don't know.
Don't defile.
Listen to them back to back.
Don't defile Pink Pony Club.
That's all I can say.
They might be similar, but you got to say that one is actually a really good song and the other one is but it's a hot piece of garbage.
Which one are we talking about? I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I don't really like either.
Pink Pony Club is really good. I think Pink Pony Club is one of the best songs from that album.
That's fair. I respect that.
The Benson Boone song is absolutely terrible.
I think both of them are kind of just, I don't know. They're there.
We're going to have a very interesting discussion, I think, when we get to...
Maybe this is just my ballad problem.
Yeah,
it
might be.
So actually, that might be proving your point exactly, is that I don't like Pink Pony Club, and that might mean it is a ballad.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Every song I don't like is suddenly a ballad. The new Bruno Mars song, ballad.
I mean...
Well, I don't know. Maybe. It's kind of like a funky. I don't know.
You just hate him too, though.
Well... I don't know. Some people are starting to not like it, I've been seeing, so maybe I'm justified now.
I've been seeing people saying that it's starting to feel too repetitive.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying for like over a decade at this point. All this music is just the same thing. But anyway, Bruno Mars criticism aside.
All I'm going to say is I'm very interested when we get to talking about the rise and fall of a Midwest princess. Like, I'm intrigued to see where that leads. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see when we get there in the future.
Someday.
I'm
excited to talk about Bruno Mars's album when we both listen to it at the end of February.
I am also very excited. Hint, hint. End of February. Hint, hint.
Yes. Yeah, well, it'll be like middle of March for everybody else when the episodes come out,
That's a good point.
We record early. I'm sorry.
Really early. We have to. That's why we talk about pop culture events like a month before they happen.
You mean after they happen? A month before they happen would be incredible, actually. We should do that.
That would be... We would be the Simpsons of podcasting.
We should look at the schedule of like what movies and albums are coming out in the next few months and then just talk about them like early, and make sure the episodes come out a week early too.
If we're vague enough, we could pull it off probably.
I'm just blown away by those Oscars announcements. Can you believe that One Battle After Another wasn't nominated for anything? That might be pushing it. Anyway.
Yeah, sorry, that's not going to work at all.
No. I literally watching the Golden Globes, it was kind of like, okay, that's going to
I didn't even
everything.
watch this year.
It was pretty good.
I didn't even realize it was happening.
Yeah, you were too focused on the New England Patriots game. I know how it is.
Literally, yeah.
Anyway, track number 6, Dress You Up, written by Andrea LaRusso and Peggy Stanziale. I don't know how to say these Italian names. My apologies. This is the 4th and final single from the album, released July 31st, 1985. It peaked at number 5 on the Hot 100, and it became her 6th consecutive top 5 single, which means that there were 2 more from the previous album. So that's also insane.
That is really crazy.
I said this song is pretty decent, and it could be a 3 if it was a little bit shorter. It's catchy and it has some good moments. It's just too long. So that is a 2.5. But this one I was actually kind of surprised by, because I agree with you that pretty much after like a Virgin, maybe even, I would say the album's kind of like, I don't know, there's not too much that I'm super interested in. But Dress You Up was a kind of a fun, an interesting song that I wasn't expecting to like as much as I did once I got locked into the Kesha effect.
I call this song the glimmer in the darkness of the back end of this album, because I agree. It kind of feels like a return to form based off like the beginning of the album. I do agree that the song is too long, and at some point it's kind of like, but But I think what really works for me is the chorus, and that kind of helps to like propel this song to a 4. This was my other 4 song, aside from Material Girl.
Nice.
And the possibility of like a Virgin being a 4, even though now it's definitely a 3.5. So yeah, I feel like this is the last hope.
Yeah.
Not saying that the rest of the album is like terrible or anything. I'm just saying like it just does not match. Especially the next song, hint hint.
Well, I want to say something real quick. Dress You Up is a 2.5 and it's a 4 for you.
Yes.
And Material Girl was a 2.5 for me and it was a 4 for you. Those are our 2 favorites.
Yeah.
Essentially.
We
And
agreed.
we agree.
And then we agreed about Love Don't Live Here Anymore.
And we agreed about Like a Virgin being like not as good as the other ones. Like we're on a roll this episode. This is kind of insane.
And about Angel too not being as good as the other ones too.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
hey, maybe Madonna is bringing us together.
Yeah, she's the queen of pop because she is bringing the masses together and we are all agreeing on what she has delivered for us.
Exactly.
And we agree that track number 7, Shooby Doo, is not really as good. This song is only written by Madonna solely. The saxophone solo on here is by Lenny Pickett. Shout out. I wrote down one note about this song. There is nothing that I like about this song. This is a 1.5.
Yeah. I was listening to this and honestly thinking to myself, what the actual hell is this? Like what is going on? I don't understand. The vibe and the title don't mix and it's way too long. I don't think like melodically it sounds terrible. I think it's just not strong, like not nearly strong enough to support the runtime or all the shooby doing and all the stuff that just doesn't work with the song. It could be a lot worse, but as it is right now, I just find it to just be a very boring and kind of unlikable song. It's a 2.5. Honestly, maybe it'll slip down to a 2. I don't know.
That's fair. I mean, the way you were describing it.
Yeah. Because I was like, oh, I don't like Love Don't Live Here Anymore more. Like, I just like it more. But now I'm kind of like, this could be lower. Just because, like, Love Don't Live Here Anymore, it was just dull.
Yeah.
That was his biggest problem. This is like actively like, what the heck is this?
This is like, latter half of Prince album type beat.
Yeah. I just don't want to break up our agreement.
That's fine.
Love Don't Live Here Anymore.
I think I'm okay with it. I think you can leave it at a 2.5.
It's a low 2.5.
I'm okay with that.
A very low 2.5. There we go.
Yeah, that's fair. I also have to remember your 2.5 means it's bad.
But it's bad where it's not like the worst thing on the earth. It's just not good.
That's why I wrote a 1.5 here, because I said there's nothing I like about this song. That doesn't mean it's the worst thing ever, because I have heard things that are far worse than this that I actively hate listening to. This just is like, there's nothing here for me. But track number 8, if our scores lining up is any indication, will be a little bit better. This is Pretender, written by Madonna and Stephen Bray. I said I'm running out of things to say. It's fine. It doesn't do anything for me. This album is definitely a Prince effect. It doesn't help me prove that I like old music.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those. This song is a 2. Slight improvement from Shooby Doo, but it's not something I'm going to listen to.
It is too long.
Yeah. Prince.
Like, you know, so many of these other songs. Yeah, the Prince effect and the I almost said the Shakira effect. I don't know why that popped into my brain. We've never even listened to Shakira on this podcast up till now. What I meant to say was, what's the other effect that we literally just talked about? I forgot.
Kesha.
Thank you. I forgot Kesha.
Madonna's driving you crazy. It's fine.
I'm going crazy. I am a pretender now. But yeah, the Kesha effect is strong. But in some ways, I feel like it kind of helps her because it reminds me of the earlier, stronger songs, which maybe helps this a little bit. It's still forgettable, though. It is a step up, though, so it's a 3. So we're in agreement.
And we got one final track here. Track number 9, Stay, written by Madonna and Stephen Bray. I wrote one thing about this song, as I've done so many times on this album before. And this one is maybe the most forgettable song on the album. This is a 1.5. Pretty bad way to end, in my opinion.
I'm sad to say that we kind of diverged.
Ooh.
Because I think this is actually a step up from the last song, too. It's like a little step ladder at the end. I feel like this song has the level of urgency that a lot of the other songs were missing in this album. And that and the chorus kind of help it to push it up to 3.5. It's quite low, but I think it just ultimately worked a little bit better for me. And maybe the fact that it wasn't like crazy long helped a little too. Not the worst note to end the album on.
But overall, I'm not listening to this album again. I did not enjoy my time here, unfortunately. We did have the Kesha effect present. We had the Prince effect present, because I do think Madonna is incredibly talented. I understand why people like her, but this is just not, I just, no, I'm sorry. And then to top it all off, we had the Maroon 5 effect, where the first half of the album, which I don't even know if it would be half, you could consider, the first part of the album was much better than subsequent parts of the album.
Yeah.
So, we covered everything this episode, which I think is pretty incredible. And
that is pretty incredible.
An album that covers everything deserves a pretty good score, don't you think?
I agree.
That's why this album gets a 2 from me.
Oh, that's nice. I thought it might be lower, honestly, for you.
That means it is better than Prince. It is much shorter, which is a huge benefit. The songs still feel long, though, which is the kind of the biggest detractor of this album.
I feel like it's because they're so repetitive.
I'm not going to be listening to this again. I probably will not be. I mean, I know I won't be adding in any of these songs to my playlists. I want to ask you, are you going to add any of these to your playlist? And what were your thoughts on the album overall?
I will not be, just because I'm not really that interested even when it comes to the songs that I gave a 4. And I think it's just a very okay album. It loses steam like multiple times. I'm kind of in a conundrum, because if you tabulate like the average score, it would be, like a low 3.5, maybe a like 3.25. But I don't know. I kind of feel like it doesn't deserve that. I don't feel like it's good enough for that. Like, sorry, but I just don't. So I'm honestly going to give this a 3.
I get you.
It's not like a terrible album. There are definitely worse albums out there, but it just ultimately, I kind of,
Yeah, it's just kind of forgettable.
It's very forgettable aside from like a few bright spots.
Yeah, sorry, Madonna. Sorry, Queen.
Sorry, Madonna.
We listened, but it just wasn't for us.
Yeah.
After some of these older albums, I felt this way after Bruce Springsteen as well. It's just kind of like, this was all that we were making at this time. Like, I feel like somebody had to be a little bit more.
There is more. Don't worry. There is more.
I mean, we'll get there.
Out there.
It's just one of those times where I was like, wow, we have come a long way in music. And it was a good reminder of why I tend to gravitate towards modern songs, because I feel like we've just learned so much more about making music that just makes it better. So, not to say that there aren't any good songs in the olden times, but this one, maybe this is a pass. I am glad we listened to it though, because I have never listened to this album in full. So it's a good experience to finally know one of Madonna's biggest albums.
I agree.
But now we have to talk about a different Material Girl, one who we might like a little bit better. We'll see. I don't know. I can't speak for David. I'm going to tell you right now though, my score for this movie is higher than a 2.
Lest we say a woman who was also pretty.
Oh,
because we're talking about Pretty Woman.
We are.
I have no idea what you're going to score this. Okay, you know what? I'm going to say, honestly, you gave it a 3.
Okay.
That's my guess. We'll see. But I'm going to throw the IMDb logline at you. I want to hear what you think.
I'm ready to catch it.
You better catch it. Here goes. A corporate raider hires a hooker to act as a business escort in Beverly Hills, California.
Interesting. I don't know that
yes, very interesting.
Business escort. I don't know that doesn't really sum up her duties, I guess, because she's more of a, I don't know, she's a personal assistant in a way, not necessarily business. I don't know.
She's like a relationship assistant or something like that.
Who becomes the relationship.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really like that log line. I don't have as many problems with it as some other ones, but I feel like they could have done better.
Yeah, I feel like it doesn't fully get what the movie really is about. I also find it funny how they just were like, oh yeah, by the way, this is set in Beverly Hills. Like, we have to say that.
Yeah.
Like, people look Beverly Hills. Like, it just feels like they tacked that on there. So I don't get why it's there.
Yeah, get some name recognition. I don't know.
Yeah, literally. It's not important. I will say, though, ironically, I have an internship where I go through Beverly Hills every day. So I'm like looking around like, oh, that's where they went here and stuff like that. Like you see the actual Rodeo Drive stuff. So that's fun. But yeah, I don't get why it's in the log line. Let's get the credits out of the way, and then I will tell you a little bit of background stuff. Honestly, mainly about casting, because that's the most important part about this movie. But here goes. It's directed by Garry Marshall, of course. It's produced by Arnon Milchan, Stephen Ruther, and Gary W. Goldstein. It's written by J.F. Lawton. The cinema.
You got it.
I don't. The cinematography is done by Charles Minsky. The film is edited by Raja Gosnell and Priscilla Ned. And the music is composed by James Newton Howard. And the film is distributed by Buena Vista Pictures Distribution, which obviously is Disney. That's what their distribution arm was called at the time. The movie, of course, stars Julia Roberts and Richard Gere. Now, how do you describe the movie's tone?
Oh God, that's a good question. It's kind of like question. It's lighter than I thought it would be, and it's a little playful.
Yes,
but I don't know. I kind of want to lock that in. It's kind of light and playful. It's not like
I agree.
It's not too bad. It's not too dark, you know?
It's not too dark, but it almost was. Because originally, screenwriter J.F. Lawton wanted to make the film a dark drama, a realistic portrayal of prostitution in Los Angeles during the 1980s. He even interviewed actual prostitutes for the film. Then president of Walt Disney Studios, Jeffrey Katzenberg, who we have brought up before, I think in the Lion King episode, insisted that they change the movie from a dark drama to a modern-day fairy tale love story, which is what ended up happening. And I feel like that fits your description of the film. I did want to bring up some things from the original version. It would have been called 3000 after amount of money that Edward pays Vivian. During the film, Vivian would have been addicted to drugs.
Oh, God.
And the film would have ended with Edward throwing her out of his car on the same spot that he found her.
God.
So
that's better than I thought. I thought he was going to kill her.
No, but yeah, still very dark.
That's a completely different movie.
Completely different movie. And Katzenberg was like, no, we're not doing that.
You got to say, props to Katzenberg for being like, there's a different movie here.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think I've talked about this before of executives usually just stand in the way and exist to solely fuck up ideas. But, you know, he actually had an idea that was good.
You know, if this was made in the modern day, that would not happen. You know, we're talking about a time when, and let me just say, you know, I know Jeffrey Katzenberg is a problematic figure. I know like a lot of people dislike him. I'm not going to get into that. I don't know who he is. Like, I don't know him, but I do feel like Katzenberg is a good example of what executives used to be. And that is someone that actually knows what they're doing when it comes to film. Like, regardless of what personal problems people might have had with him or still have, he has time and time again proved that he knows how to like craft a good film as a producer. I think that shows you like what executives used to be versus what a lot of executives are. Not saying all of them are not to that level, but it kind of feels like most of them aren't.
I mean, you got two of the greatest executives in Hollywood right now named David, Zaslav and Ellison.
Oh, God.
And they're just,
don't get me started.
You know, contributing so many great things to Hollywood right now.
I mean, hey, I have hope with the two executives running Warner Brothers, at least their film division. I don't know, or honestly, both divisions, because I feel like Warner Bros. Might actually start doing good stuff as seen by 2025.
Yeah, I can speak for the TV side. I'm pretty sure Channing Dungey is still there as the head, and she was amazing when she was at ABC.
Yeah, so both her and the two heads of the film division, like, I think they're all doing really good work there. And of course, Netflix will probably kick them out. when they buy them. So,
well, yeah, exactly. Unless Paramount takes them over first, because they're suing them now. So
yes, in which case they will still get kicked out. So.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So they're gone either way.
We'll see. Yeah. The Disney executives also got rid of the title 3000 because they said it sounded like an action adventure movie, not a romance movie. Which honestly, yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna go watch the chick flick 3000 with my girls.
Yeah.
No.
3000.
That sounds like a future sci-fi movie.
Yeah. No, it would not have worked.
Shout out to the Jonas Brothers year 3000.
Hell yeah. Can I also just say this is the tangent episode? I am fully just putting that out there.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I feel like we don't have as much to talk about.
Yeah, I enjoy
like
tangents.
with the music or movies. Yeah, I do too.
I agree.
I hope our audience does too. We'll be back to regularly scheduled, well, somewhat regularly scheduled programming next week because you'll have to go over to our Instagram to find out what we're watching and maybe with who.
Hint, hint. But although we don't have a lot to talk about, we got a lot of casting to talk about. Who do you think was the first choice to play Vivian, Brandon?
Oh, God. It's going to be someone who is probably a minor.
No, but I mean, Julie Roberts was not that far from being a minor. She was 21.
Exactly. Yeah.
The first choice was not Roberts. It was Karen Allen, who you might know from Indiana Jones or The Sandlot. But she turned it down, as did Meg Ryan.
Okay, I've heard of her.
You know, Meg Ryan was obviously a big star at this point, known for being in a lot of rom-coms like Harry Met Sally, etc., etc. The movie was also offered to Michelle Pfeiffer, who turned it down because she reportedly didn't like the film's tone. Maybe she saw the darker.
She didn't want to do
version.
3000.
Yeah. Maybe she saw 3000. I don't know. But if she did, I could see that. Daryl Hannah, meanwhile, who we saw in Blade Runner, considered the role of Vivian to be, quote, degrading to women, end quote. So she didn't accept it.
I can see
Again,
that argument.
I'm not sure which version.
Yeah.
I could see that for both versions, honestly. Winona Ryder, meanwhile, was considered too young.
Oh, wow.
As was Jennifer Connelly, which, hey, we will see a movie with Winona Ryder pretty soon. Hint, hint.
Hint, hint. Go check that Instagram, everybody.
But eventually, they did get to Julie Roberts. She was 21 years old, and she wasn't a star yet. She had only been in 2 movies, Mystic Pizza and Steel Magnolias, which hadn't even been released yet. But she won the role. As Molly Ringwald has said, who reportedly, and this is kind of murky, but she reportedly received a script for the film but didn't accept it. But people have been like, there seems to be a fake quote from her about the film, etc., etc. It's confusing, but as she would later say, she couldn't imagine anyone else in the role. The film was meant for Roberts and was what it was because of her, because of Roberts, which I completely agree. Meanwhile, Roberts' body double, because she did have a body double in the film, Shelley Michelle, auditioned by stripping down to a bikini, which resulted her in winning the part.
Whoa. Okay, Harvey Weinstein.
Imagine that. Like, what's my audition? I'm a strip. And she was also a double for Roberts on the poster because that's her body. On the poster, it's her body with Roberts' head superimposed on top. Or
Why?
edited it on top. I guess they just thought it looked better. I don't know.
That's crazy.
But that's what it is. Yeah. It is kind of crazy. Yeah. I don't know why. Now, casting for Edward also took quite a long while because there was another long laundry list that included Christopher Reeves, who is an amazing actor. And I think a lot of people forget that because of the Superman films, but he is truly an amazing actor. He auditioned, but he did not get a chance to read with Roberts, as he would later on write in his memoir, quote, I had to play the scenes with the casting director who kept her nose buried in the pages and read about as well as a reject from some community theater. Halfway through the second scene, anger, frustration, and humiliation got the better of me. I ripped the pages in half, dropped them on the floor, told Garry Marshall and the producers that they had no right to treat any actor this way, and stalked out of the room, end quote.
Jesus.
So, yeah. Now, by all accounts, I've heard that he is an amazing person. Maybe he wasn't feeling it. I obviously don't know the full situation. So
how bad was that casting director reading?
I don't know. I'm not gonna say anything beyond putting that quote out there and saying that I've heard that everyone loved him as a person. Anyways, Al Pacino.
Oh God,
was considered. Yeah, he got so far as actually doing a casting read with Roberts before he turned it down. So he got pretty far, but eventually, obviously, they got to Richard Gere, and he decided to turn it down in spite of the obvious chemistry between him and Roberts during their first meeting. And he was actually on the phone, ready to turn the role down when Roberts slipped him a post-it note that read, "Please say yes." And he promptly accepted the role. So it took Julia Roberts to get him cast. And he, when he accepted, started to take a very active approach to the film, which resulted in Garry Marshall kind of reproaching him. He said, quote, no, Richard, in this movie, one of you moves and one of you does not. Guess which one you are, end quote. Which I think that was the right call to make. This is Roberts' movie at the end of the day. Even though I do think that their chemistry makes the film.
Yeah, I agree. It doesn't work without that. Then you just get dangerous liaisons.
Literally. You need their chemistry for this film, but then you also need Roberts. I feel like if one of them was expendable, it would have to be Richard Gere. Sorry.
Yeah.
Even though I think he's great in this film. Don't get me wrong. I am happy it got cast like this. I think this is the best version of the film. Now, you might have seen another familiar face in this film from a certain big 90s TV show.
Costanza?
Costanza? Were you expecting that at all?
No.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Especially ironic considering he's one of the first people you see on screen. He was almost not cast because Marshall was scared that if he cast Alexander, it would seem that Gere was, and this is a quote from Marshall, it's not me saying this, but it would seem that Gere was, quote, beating up a midget, end quote, due to their size difference.
Oh my God.
He was scared that people would see it that way. But eventually casting changed his mind, which, damn, that's kind of crazy. And that's casting. That's all we got to talk about, even though that's the bulk of the notes that I have. They did film this in Los Angeles and in Beverly Hills and Rodeo Drive itself. They had a budget of $14 million, which is quite big. That would be $34 million now.
Yeah, that's pretty large.
Yeah, that's a good budget for this film, and that's why they were able to film there. And it seems like the production was very easygoing, very pleasant. Marshall let a lot of his actors improvise. He actually kind of insisted that they improvise on set, and that made the set very spontaneous and let Gere and Roberts' chemistry kind of naturally lead the scenes, which you can absolutely see. And I think that works great both for the romantic elements and for the comedy. And I honestly don't have a lot of other notes when it comes to filming. There is some more stuff out there, but it's kind of smaller stuff like, in the scene where Roberts is watching I Love Lucy, Gere was tickling her feet to get her laugh, stuff like that. But ultimately, Pretty Woman was released March 23rd, 1990, and received mixed to positive reviews. Kind of in the middle there. A lot of people said that the dialogue and the chemistry between Gere and Roberts was the standout, but criticized a lot of the movie's other qualities. And that included, the trope of the hooker with a heart of gold, and the fact that it kind of sugarcoated the realities of sex work, which tracks. That being said, in spite of what some critics scored the film, it became a giant hit. On its budget of $14 million, it grossed $463 million.
Wow.
And it became Disney's highest grossing R-rated film until 2024 when Deadpool and Wolverine released.
Holy shit. That's great.
Yeah, so for
Disney's highest
34
grossing
years.
R? I didn't realize that they didn't have any others.
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, I think it took a long time for any movie from any other studio to even beat it. And to this day, depending on what metric you use, it's still the highest grossing rom-com ever made.
That's crazy.
And it's still popular. It has remained popular until today. It's considered a classic rom-com. It helped to boost Julia Roberts' career to the stratosphere. It made her a star. which she, of course, continued with movies like Aaron Brockovich. And it kind of helped Richard Gere's career rebound. And he would, of course, go on to be in acclaimed films like Chicago. And that's kind of all I have to say. And I had to ask, do you see the LA of today in the LA of then? Just purely as like, oh, do you, like, does it feel the same? Like, oh, that's Hollywood bombed out. There's Beverly Hills where all the rich people are.
I mean, pretty much, yeah. Like,
it hasn't changed at all, has it?
I mean, even some of the old movies that we've watched, it's like, wow, LA really has kind of just like been the same for a long time. Like, it just feels like it's always got that same energy to it.
Now my real, like, my first actual question, because that was just a fun little, comparing this to a lot of the other rom-coms that we've seen, do you notice anything that stands out? Does it feel different? Do you think there's a reason why this is such a classic still? And you can obviously get into like the chemistry and all that stuff, because I know that's going to come up at some point.
I mean, yeah, the chemistry is definitely part of it. I feel like another underrated aspect of it is it ends well. Like it has that Hollywood happy ending, but the troubles almost between their relationships and their personalities feel more real than
I agree.
Other, like, I guess, surface level rom-coms. Like, you can actually tell that these are two people who want very different things out of life and don't know if they're compatible.
I think that's one of the biggest things I came away from this film with, is that the way that they hurt each other and the way that they get hurt, like the way that they react, feels very, very realistic.
Yeah.
I think that makes this movie more than just a rom-com in a way, where it feels very realistic to life. The part that I like that sticks in my head is when he says, "Oh, but you are a hooker." I think something like that. Like that just stands, like that just really stuck out for me, because it does feel like just an actual conversation that people would have. And just like the way that, you know, it's just like one single phrase that's like, damn, that actually really hurt me, stuff like that.
Yeah. And also how when she talks about like she doesn't want to be treated like a prostitute as well.
Yeah.
And then he's kind of like treating her like one almost. And it's interesting because it's this line of like, well, part of it is her job to do whatever he wants, but then also there's a person behind that, like, employee, I guess, which is kind of,
especially considering that like they actually have feelings now. It's gone beyond just like the business aspect of it.
Even they're like friends at a point too, and they're not like lovers yet. And you can tell they enjoy each other's company. Like there's still, the relationship becomes more and more complicated the more time they spend together, which is interesting. I feel like it's actually quite a good like framing device for a story.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Like talking like technically about like writing this movie, I feel like it was very well done. And like this is a really solid idea, like from start to finish.
I think what this film does is it walks a very fine line between going too much in either direction, you know, being too like fairy tale-y and too realistic.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if it went too dark, it wouldn't have been as fun. And I think that genuinely gives something to this film. Like I think that the fact that you have both of those elements makes you notice both more and appreciate both being there, versus if it was just one or the other.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like the best version of this film that could have been.
I was thinking about that too, because it doesn't get too dark. It doesn't, like, I guess, dive into any of the like social issues behind sex work. And like it gives you some reason, some backstory of why she's there, what like led to these choices, I guess. And I don't even know if some of them are choices. A lot of the times it's more like
necessity,
out of necessity.
Yeah.
They give her a backstory and they treat her as an actual character, but it also doesn't go too deep into the, you know, drug addiction part of it that like it could have in the 3000 version. Yeah. I agree with you that I feel like it walks that line quite well between the like fairy tale fantasy aspect of it and the like dark, gritty thriller kind of thing that it could be, you know, like it exists somewhere in that middle. And I feel like they found the right middle ground.
I see what critics mean when they're like, oh, it doesn't dive deep enough. But I also kind of feel like there's a time and a place. Like a different movie is a great vessel for that.
Exactly. Yeah, this is not the movie to dive deep into that.
Another movie that literally comes to mind is Anora, which in a lot of ways is very similar. And even though it's very comedic, it's also in a lot of ways very more realistic. Even though there are differences, like for instance, in that movie, the Honora, she's not a prostitute, she's, I believe, a stripper. So it's like there are differences, but it kind of feels like that is a movie where it's like, yeah, this is more realistic. So this is the time and the place to study those things more, versus this movie, it's not really the place to do that. This is not what they're trying to go for. It's not the point of the movie.
There's a way to read this movie and to be critical of it. And I think that's through a feminist lens, because I don't think that she's like, there's a lot of problems with the writing of her as a character from a feminist perspective. But the one thing I will say is I feel like this movie does a great job of writing her and the kind of their relationship and their power dynamic from a class perspective. And I feel like that's where this really shines, is when you interrogate who Vivian is, why she wants these things, why she doesn't want these things, and kind of has to hesitate to kind of become the housewife or whatever, because, wealth that's like the whole point of the movie. And I feel like there's a lot of moments and a lot of scenes and a lot of even like lines of dialogue that are like perfect for analysis of this movie from a class perspective. So if anybody wants to, I mean, I assume somebody has already written like a thesis on this for their like doctorate or whatever, but I'm throwing this out there. If we have any listeners who are currently in a master's or doctorate program, I feel like this is a good movie to write about from a class perspective. And also kind of like what class mobility will do to your values or your like being, I guess, as a person, because she changes throughout this movie with the introduction of money and social status. And I feel like that from that lens, I had a lot of fun kind of watching that version of the movie almost.
Hopefully that change comes to us too.
Exactly.
I also want to say, out of everything that I've seen in my life, I think this movie is a great example of where you're watching it and you're thinking, okay, how are these people not together in real life?
Yeah, true.
Like, that's literally what I was thinking. Like, they seem perfect for each other.
It almost makes you forget about the age gap as well.
Yeah, that's the other thing. There's a pretty big age gap. It's like over 10 years or something, right? I want to say.
I feel like it's closer to 20.
Honestly, probably.
I feel like he was like well into his 40s.
Yeah. That would.
'Cause he's like going gray too.
Yeah, he started acting in like the 70s. So like, or maybe even earlier. So yeah. It's just like they bounce off each other kind of perfectly, like it's kind of like you're watching your like friends of yours who are in a relationship. That's kind of what it feels like.
Yeah, it's like I'm watching you and Jennifer.
Yeah, exactly.
Except you are the prostitute.
Thank
and
you.
She's the power millionaire.
Honestly,
who has
that
a
tracks.
stable job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm the artist that's like, oh, I'm trying stuff.
Yes, you're selling yourself on Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's why you're going to Beverly Hills every day. It's a code.
Hey, you gotta like build up, like I'm trying to build up into Beverly Hills, get from Hollywood to Beverly Hills eventually.
Exactly.
But it's kind of crazy. Like, I feel like this is the best chemistry I've seen in so long. Like, this makes you understand what people mean when they're like, oh, we got to find two people with good chemistry,
Exactly. That's what I was thinking, is like, there are so many things you can account for when casting. Seeing like somebody who embodies everything that you want in a character is like incredible when you're casting. But you cannot match seeing two people act together that have this amount of chemistry. And I feel like this is what I want out of every movie almost, like seeing
honestly,
them.
Yeah, this is the level of chemistry you want.
Yes. Even for like friendships and like for any important pairing between like, I guess, two characters or more characters that are supposed to be like get along. I want it to feel like the actors are really best friends in real life. Like, to me, that makes the movie watching experience more enjoyable because it feels real. Like, that's the whole thing of like acting, is it's got to be rooted somewhat in reality,
And it's hard because it's not like you can just be like, oh, let's cast this couple, even though like people do that all the time, but it's not always feasible and stuff like that. So the fact that they were able to find like this
And even then with casting couples, sometimes they just don't have chemistry. It's weird. Like they don't have.
That's true.
It doesn't translate.
The important lesson of this is it's all chemistry.
Chemistry, have your actors act together, bounce off of each other, see what works, what happens in the room when they're together.
Don't use green screens.
Well, that too, yeah. That's a separate thing, but yes, I agree.
Yeah, that's a whole separate thing. That's why this podcast works, because we just have amazing chemistry,
Exactly. We built that up by being in the same room together, and now when we're thousands of miles apart, you can't even tell.
Exactly. We spent like 2-3 years being friends just for this podcast.
Just for this podcast and nothing else.
We had no idea that we were going to be friends.
Yeah,
like that we were going to do a podcast.
Yeah, we were.
That was the whole point.
Put together by a casting team, and they were like, I feel like you guys could be friends, and I feel like you guys should host a podcast. And you know what? They were right.
And look at where we are now. In 20 years, we'll be doing this podcast with like 10 listeners, and we'll still have great chemistry.
It'll only get better.
The only other question but I had one other point to bring up, and that was, I feel like the direction of this film is kind of underrated.
You mean like Garry Marshall directing?
Yes. Yeah. I feel like the reason why you see the chemistry so well on screen is because of the way that he directed it. And that includes like him letting them improv. And also, I think it just looks very good. Like, yeah, some people might say like, oh, it looks very rom-com-y. Like, yeah, it does. But
it is bright.
In a good way, I think.
Yeah, it matches the tone of the story. Like the tone of the visuals. Like they're in harmony.
He knows how to shoot this to make it look good in a way that fits.
I also want to say, this is one of those movies, like I've said about Steven Spielberg before, where it feels like you're watching a movie, and I like that.
Yes.
Like sometimes I want to watch a movie and I'm like, I want this to be like real life. But this one feels like you're watching a movie, and it feels great that you're watching a movie.
I completely agree.
I did also want to say about the directing, there are a lot of feet in this movie. I don't know if you noticed that as well. I did.
I did not until you mentioned it.
Yeah, I get that a lot of the time that's like important for the story. Like it did matter, but also every time there was a foot on screen, I was kind of like, oh, okay, we're getting a little bit of Tarantino in here,
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
He's the precursor to Tarantino.
Exactly. Tarantino was looking at Garry Marshall's movies and being like salivating,
I also want to shout out his sister. Was Penny Marshall, who was an amazing director in her own right. We will have to watch A League of Their Own at some point, which has a little connection to the album we listened to, because Madonna is in that movie.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, and she's very good in it. So I had to shout out the Marshall siblings.
Shout out Michigan too, while we're at it.
Absolutely, I agree.
So is that the end of your questions?
Those are the end of my questions. I don't have a lot of questions, just because, I don't know, I feel like you might have more to add.
Do you want me to tell you my score right away?
Honestly, I'm going to change it. I think it's a 3.5 for you, actually.
Well, you know what?
Oh my God.
It's actually a 4.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
This was really good. I was really surprised at how much I liked this movie. I thought there's no way this goes above a 3. This is one of those ones where I was like, it's just, it's exactly what I think it is. And it was not what I thought it was.
Yeah.
And, there are problems with it, but ultimately, it comes down to, would I want to watch this again? Absolutely. And did I have a good time watching this? Absolutely.
It is insanely rewatchable.
Yeah. And my God, is that the chemistry between them crazy. It's a thing of beauty when you have two actors that are that good together. It's just like, I would watch those two in anything.
Literally, yeah. I don't care how bad the movie would be. Like, them in something together, I'm going to watch it. And they actually did. I think they were in another movie together too. So maybe we'll just have to watch that.
And I got to say, I don't remember the guy's name, the actor's name. Julia Roberts with the hotel guy, who's like the main guy.
Yes.
Incredible as well. They just had great chemistry too.
Hector Elizondo. I have not seen him in anything outside of this film. But honestly, I want to see more things with him, because he is really good as it. Like, just from this one film, like, I feel like you can tell that he's a really good actor.
Yeah.
Like, he's just so interesting to watch. And I believe that he was also in the other movie that Richard Gere and Julia Roberts did together.
Oh, wow.
I think it was like the three of them, like, getting together and being in another film altogether. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Very fun.
shout out Gary Marshall. He really did a great job with this one. Like
He did.
totally get why this is one of the biggest rom-coms of all time. Like it's going to be hard to top this, and I did not think I would say that.
I know you don't expect it until you watch it, and then you're like, wow, which kind of, gives away what I'm going to talk about in 1 second. Before I forget, or before I mention something else before I forget, because did you notice that Hank Azaria is in this movie?
I do not remember this.
He has a small, tiny cameo because this is actually his film debut.
Whoa.
In the opening of the film, when you're in Hollywood, or not the opening, but like in the beginning of the film, when you're in Hollywood, and there's that detective asking people if they saw like the shooting or whatever, or the stabbing or whatever, that's Hank Azaria, a young Hank Azaria. So, yeah.
That's crazy.
A fun little fact. Yeah.
So now tell me, is this a 5?
This is not a 5, but we are actually in agreement. This is a 4 for me too.
Oh, wow. Which means that I liked this movie more than you.
I mean,
technically,
I feel like maybe it's just because I've seen more, like I can't put it too high. But I do think that this is a good, like I have always enjoyed this movie. This is my second time watching it. The first time I watched it, it was a while ago. And going into this time, I was like, I don't remember, like, I don't know what it's going to be just because it was a long time. And obviously I'm much more grown up. So maybe I'll have like a different view of it, stuff like that. I remembered it being funny, but I didn't remember like just how good it is. I was expecting to give it at the highest, like a 3.5 and be like, yeah, it's good, but it has issues. It definitely does have issues, but it's just such a good film. Like the chemistry, the comedy, it just works so much better than you think it would, especially considering like that the subject matter it tackles kind of has a lot of like mines you could step on.
Yeah, for sure.
And I feel like generally they do it very well, especially considering like the tone of the film. Like I feel like kind of how we said, it's a very hard thing to balance the tone with the subject matter, and they pull it off exceptionally well. Shout out to J.F. Lawton.
Yes.
Too, because a lot of that comes from the script.
Exactly. So, Thank you. I could not remember his name, but big shout out to J.F. Lawton.
And I honestly don't have anything else to add about the film.
I think that's a good place to end. And
yeah, honestly, yeah.
It's
kind of self-explanatory.
Yeah, this was a successful film. Not as successful album, but that's okay.
That's okay.
It
happens.
We had to listen to Madonna at some point.
That's true.
And I feel like this was a good pairing overall.
I agree.
I feel like Madonna's music is kind of similar tone. It's kind of light and airy. It's not like it doesn't dive too deeply into the darker side of emotions. And you know what? That's kind of nice.
It dives in as much as it needs to, like the film.
Exactly. And sometime in the future, we're going to listen to my favorite song by Madonna, which is called Bitch, I'm Madonna, featuring Nicki Minaj. It's incredible. It's like so bad it's good, but like sometimes I think I like genuinely enjoy it because it is just insane, And
it sounds like
after
one of those songs.
Listening to it for a while, I was kind of like, you know what? This is almost a precursor to like hyperpop.
Oh, so I'm gonna definitely hate it.
Oh, for sure. But it might be one of those ones where you're like, this is so bad it's good. Like you could see that. Yeah. You could have that reaction for sure.
Which is also necessary.
Yes, that's a great thing. I don't think we've done any of those yet. So maybe if you head over to that Instagram, you can see if we're going to be doing any of those in the coming weeks, because we always announce our episodes 1 week early. So I would follow that if I were you.
And if you want to see if maybe one of us has listened to or seen a movie or album in the past that's like that, you can find all of that information, our letterboxes, our Rate Your Musics, all that stuff in the link tree. That's both in the description of this episode and every episode, and on our Instagram page. And Brandon, if they want to send us movies that they think we should watch that are so bad they're good, or vice versa, so good that they're bad, where can they email us?
One place and one place only. That's upcpod@gmail.com. And if you want to support the show, make sure you tell your friends, your family, your enemies, leave a comment on Spotify, leave a review on Apple Music /podcast, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
We will love you forever. And I think that's worth something.
Unconditionally too.
Yes, true. Very good point. But like I said, check out that Instagram because we got a pretty interesting episode coming up next week. And like we said, there might be someone else joining the podcast. So
goodbye.